Tails 666. After Tails made a weird picture, he goes out to invent something in his lair. When he came back, he met his now deceased friends. He was devastated and went into a deep depression, and he cried in his room. His tears now look like blood, and he goes to sleep. In his dream, he heard an unknown source of someone whispering, and as a result, he began to change in appearance. Woken up, he is now a demonic creature, and he now has a goal to kill the attackers. He arrives at Marco's house, and proceeds to kill the three, Marco, Christian, and Samuel. After their death, he returns to his house and revives his friends, although in an undead state. Alt ending. Tails 666 had another plan in mind. He went to confront Damien, the creator of STHAS, and made him unconscious upon contact. Damien wakes up and is somehow transported to the STHAS universe. He notices Tails crying and seems to be back in his normal form. He attempts to comfort him and tries to cheer him up by reviving his friends in some way. He noticed a wizard simply named Wizard come into his house and explain that he saw what happened, and he used his magic to revive Tails' friends. When Damien takes Tails to the living room, his friends are back. Tails was filled with joy and he thanked Damien and Wizard for helping him, and he apologized to Damien for doing something awkwardly dangerous. Damien then left the universe. The speech figure, a dark demonic figure that blends in with the darkness, and causes a different type of problem in each universe, and even compels the characters to do some evil deeds. Its most preferred universe is the Sonic or STHAS universe, and can easily compel the characters there. It is believed to have existed before the Earth existed. Damien, a YouTuber that tries his best to entertain viewers with his videos, until one day, he began to hear Tails' voice in his head. He tries to ignore it but it slowly drives him insane. At 1 in the morning, he noticed a red glow outside. He checked and directly saw the demonic Tails. He was knocked unconscious soon after. Damien wakes up and is somehow transported to the STHAS universe. He notices Tails crying and seems to be back in his normal form. He attempts to comfort him and tries to cheer him up by reviving his friends in some way. He noticed a wizard simply named Wizard come into his house and explain that he saw what happened, and he used his magic to revive Tails' friends. When Damien takes Tails to the living room, his friends are back. Tails was filled with joy and he thanked Damien and Wizard for helping him, and he apologized to Damien for doing something awkwardly dangerous. Damien then left the universe. Sonic was met with an unlucky death, as Marco, Christian, and Samuel mutilated him, taking out his right eye, his right arm, and part of his right knee. His jaw hangs loosely as a result of Samuel pushing it down too hard. Yodel checks on Sonic to see why he screamed, and ended up becoming the victim. His left leg had been ripped off, his nose being halfway teared off, along with an expression of frozen pure terror. Cowl checks on Sonic to see why he screamed, and ended up becoming the victim. His right eye being gouged out, his right ear ripped off, and his head and neck tearing apart just slightly when Christian pulled it up too high with extreme force. Billy checks on Sonic to see why he screamed, and ended up becoming the victim. His face was completely destroyed, his blaster slightly broken, and his arms were ripped off. Wizard came into Tails' house and explained that he saw what happened to Tails, and he used his magic to revive Tails' friends. When Damien takes Tails to the living room, his friends are back. Tails was filled with joy and he thanked Damien and Wizard for helping him, and he apologized to Damien for doing something awkwardly dangerous. Damien then left the universe. Tails was missing one night and Sonic went to investigate. He went out during midnight and came to notice Tails in front of him, although he looked pale than normal. But then suddenly, Tails became taller, his color tone was darker, and he had empty eye sockets and decayed teeth. He then proceeded to mutilate Sonic, and turn him into what he had become. It's thought that he was killed some time ago and is now hunting down people. Corrupted Tails. In the STHAS universe, the darkness took over. Sonic, Yodel, Cowl, and Billy were already caught. Tails hid in his room. When he went to use the toilet, the darkness leaped from the drain and took Tails away. By now, all of Sonic's family has become a mindless zombie, and is now hunting down people they see. Brute Sonic was a normal speedster of a hedgehog, before becoming a dangerous stronger monster due to an infection made by Dr. Robotnik, and started to attack and kill every critter on sight. He even managed to kill Tails by a single rip in half. He towers over every critter, every mobian, and every human, standing over 13 meters. But somehow, Tails was still alive, but had artificial parts on his right side of his body, and tried to stop the now evil Sonic, either to kill him, or somehow turning him back to normal. Robot Tails. Tails met an unfortunate demise by Sonic, who somehow became a monster due to an infection by Dr. Robotnik. He was ripped in half and was killed instantly. But, an unknown scientist retrieves his body with Knuckles, Amy, and more, and puts robotic parts on his right side. Tails was revived somehow, and had a goal of his own: he will kill or turn Sonic back to his normal self in some way. Sonic and Tails were bored, so they went to Mount Everest to race down, but Sonic went ahead and did a head start, leaving Tails behind. Tails didn't have time to catch up, so he got abandoned instantly. He remained trapped on the mountain for years, unable to fly due to the temperature freezing his tails. He finds some clothes from a recently deceased individual, and decides to wear them. He simply waits on the mountain until someone finally sees him and takes him away from the mountain, and take revenge on Sonic for abandoning him. Serve Tails. Tails was walking around, speaking to himself about certain things during his life, until he spotted two unfamiliar people. One of them had convinced the other that tails from other animals are yummy. The other person doubts it, and lends the tail to the enthusiastic person. After the person takes a little bite on the other's tail, Tails felt paranoid, and fled back to his home when the person sarcastically said he wanted to eat more tails. After returning home, he would always be scared of anything that might try to eat his tails, and doesn't trust anyone. Eventually, after everything that scared him of everything he assumed, he couldn't take it anymore, and decided to go outside and lay on the streets, in hopes of a car coming and running him over. Cowl comes out and spots him lying there, and tries to warn him to get off the road, because he would get hit by a car. Tails refuses, and calls him off by saying, "I wanted to lie here to look up at the clouds." Cowl, without reason, decides to allow it and leaves him behind. After a few minutes, a car comes by, and runs over Tails, killing him instantly. His body now lies on the road, bleeding profusely, and slowly decaying, without his friends even knowing what had happened. Hole and Tailoni. Tails was taking a daily walk during the day, when he noticed a person in the distance. Without thinking, he approached and tried to speak to this person. He didn't know that this person was a serial killer, potentially endangering his life. The killer quickly started to attack and kill him without saying a word, and Tails was screaming in agony, but was quickly interrupted with a final blow to the chest. The killer then put Tails's body onto a wooden large cross-like structure, and proceeded to remove Tails's eyes, tongue and teeth, and the killer quickly fled the scene. No one had noticed Tails's crucified body after 5 hours of the killer escaping, when Tails's spirit finally left his body, but he didn't decide to ascend to heaven. He grew angry that he died so soon to that serial killer without knowing he was bad news, so his spirit decided to stay on Earth. He planned to kill the same killer if he decided to show up again, but he can't leave his body behind, so he stayed near his body at all times until that killer arrives, but quickly learned to still gain control of his body by possessing it, despite that he quickly died due to severe trauma, but he thought less of that occurrence, and he succeeded possessing his body without any problems. Since the killer won't stop hiding, he decided to look for him himself. He finally reached his location, and confronted him in his basement. The killer was shocked at the undead body of Tails, and attempted to kill it again, but his attacks were useless against it, since Tails's spirit was intangible, and Tails succeeded in killing the killer. After his success, he goes back to his location where he was killed, and hangs his corpse back up the cross. His spirit exited the body and decided to guard his corpse, as his anger didn't go away, and he will attack anyone who gets too close, but in the meantime, he hid inside his corpse in order to peek from his missing eyes and mouth parts to prevent an intruder from noticing.